No money changing hands. Just two soldiers speaking the truth. Help me. Help me to do this. That's it, I have to leave now. You don't shoot him, millions will die.
Hello there, Seraphim17 once again, introducing you to my Battlefield 3 hard difficulty video walkthrough. This is Rock in a Hard Place, and this is the first section of it where we are being ambushed by Russian soldiers. And the first part of this level is pretty challenging because they have the elevated position on you. The cover's not that great in this area, and it's really hard to see people because you're in a forest, so dudes are just stood by trees. It can be really deceptive if it's a guy or if it's just a bush, and it makes for an interesting little firefight. So I kind of use myself as bait. I kind of bait them out to shoot so they tell me where they are, and then I can take them down accordingly. And this is obviously not the safest strategy, as you can tell. I'm getting shot a lot, and I'm playing this very ballsy. Right, so I have absolutely no idea what I was just saying, because I was just interrupted by a phone call. So I'm assuming it was something along the lines of, these dudes are hard to see and you need to shoot them in the face. And that guy will not die. And that is an example of how I mentioned in an earlier video that you'll be shooting at somebody and your bullets won't register because there's actually a piece of cover that you can't see that is there. So for instance, there was a rock in front of me and I was probably shooting an invisible lip of the rock instead of that guy. Which really sucks, but it's just how the game is made, it's how the engine works, and it's just, you know, how the cookie crumbles, apparently. But as you push up here, a bunch more of these mercenaries are going to turn up, and the first thing I would say is make sure that you grab a secondary weapon, because it's going to make the later part of this level a lot easier. And make sure it's one you're comfortable with, because there's just going to be, I think, the AN-94s knocking around, and it's got an interesting looking iron sight that's not that functional. And there's going to be a couple with some sights. If you can get one with a red dot sight, that's my preference every day. So that's the one I would grab. But grab whatever you're comfortable with, and then just move forward and take a few guys down, take some numbers. And bear in mind there is an achievement that you can get here for knifing somebody and getting their dog tags. But I definitely would not try it on hard because you're just going to get murdered very quickly. So just push up, hit the checkpoint, investigate the body, and then we can carry on the rest of the level. But out of all the levels on this game, I would say this one is the closest to a Battlefield feeling mission to me. And it's also the one that I probably find the least enjoyable because of it. And what's going to happen is we're going to get to the top of a hill, we're going to look down and see a vista. There's going to be a bunch of planes and a bunch of Russians paratrooping in that kind of looks pretty good, and then you just have to push forward running through fields like it's Band of Brothers, and you're just killing dudes, moving through fields, moving through pastures, killing more dudes, and it felt really monotonous to me, and it almost felt pigeonholed in when the game so far had been slightly more interesting with the set pieces, and you'd gone from place to place, and this just kind of felt like they had to throw it in here because it's just kind of what they do. And it's a bit of a shame because it's not the shortest of levels, it's a pretty long level, and you just find yourself doing the same things over and over again, which is not the most enjoyable part of Battlefield, but as long as you stay in cover, as long as you play intelligent and you put single shot on, you should be okay. And just bear in mind there is a lot of enemies. It seems like it's an endless spawn, but it isn't. It's controlled. You just have to hit enough dudes to stop them from coming and keep pushing forward and following your commanding officer. As you can probably tell as well, my voice is a little bit shot to shit. I blame it on doing 7 hours of commentaries yesterday and not drinking enough water. Apparently it roars out the back of your throat. And my throat does feel pretty shitty, man. It feels real fucking shitty. But, you know, I'll get over it somehow. I'll just keep slurping down this morning coffee, because I have got up early in the hope of waking up to see Uncharted 3 being posted through my letterbox. But it's just gone dinner time, and my lazy-ass post woman still hasn't come. So she better get her ass in shape, because I'm gonna do it. And I don't think there's a worse feeling, actually, when you intentionally make yourself get up early when you've gone to bed pretty damn late, only to get up and not have the reason that you were getting up in the first place to be there. Kinda sucks a bit of dick. Especially when you've got a bit of a raw throat and then you start doing commentaries after it. Because your mouth feels like Belladonna's ass after a scene, but there's not much I can do about that. And this needs to get done because it's going to be a busy month, as people already know. And I actually got a message off a subscriber earlier on asking me how I managed to juggle university with playing games, because I make a lot of guides and I've got a very high gamer score. And I answered him, and I'm going to answer on this video because it's an interesting topic to speak about, because all I'm going to be doing here is pushing my way down this hill and shooting people. There's a really funny moment where I turn on a guy because somehow an AI gets behind me when I'm laid down near a rock, and I spin around and own the dude, which is kind of cool, but I do not advise it on hard. You'll just end up getting your ass kicked a lot. So balancing things is all about self-control, as anybody will know who's got a lot of priorities going on. And for me, it's more than just, you know, games, uni, and all that good stuff, because there's the whole social aspect of my friends with it. There's the whole aspect of my girlfriend who lives in a different part of the country to me, so that's an endeavour when I have to go and see her. And there's a lot of different things, but it all boils down to I suppose you could say moderation. And I'm not doing a very good job of it at the start of this year, because when I've gone back to university I've been a little bit lethargic after the big long break, and I've just wanted to sit on arse and play games and not do any work, and unfortunately that's kind of what I've done. And I'm not behind or anything, I've just not done as much work as I would like to have done at this point. Luckily enough, I had a bit of an epiphany the other day, did a bunch of work, and now I feel a lot better about it. And my personal feelings on balancing something like uni and, you know, times that you want to have fun, it all depends on how you work. Some people will be destined to be the type of guy that works throughout the entire process of the production, from the first moment he's doing work to the last moment he's doing work, and he'll probably get a better grade for it, because that tends to be how it works. Me myself, I'm one of those guys that puts it off to the last minute, then crams it, and generally doesn't get the best grade, but gets enough to get through and carry on. And that is not the best way to do it, which I've found. So the real key is mixing the two. If you can get a nice mixture between, you know, doing a hell of a lot of work at once, but not doing it at the end of the cycle, you'll probably do a lot better. And as far as my Xbox goes, I generally use it as kind of a reward for doing work, and like an incentive. If I can get this done, I can go and play on this game, or I can go and do this, and it's a reward system. And it can be a nice balance, but there are times when I'll neglect one for the other, and it's just how it seems to work. The main important factor is that you stay on top of what you're doing, because your Xbox is all good and well, but it's always going to be there. Your education isn't, and you need to get the best you can so that when you leave you can go and get a good job in something you enjoy doing, so that you don't end up on a fucking factory assembly line just wishing for death, because life suddenly turns really real when you end up in that situation where all you're doing is living day by day to pay bills, and nobody wants that. But you do need to, you can't just focus on uni, you can't just do nothing but uni work, 'cause you're going to burn yourself out, and you're just going to get really stressed, and you're going to get really exhausted, and you're not going to enjoy your time, and there's no point doing something if you don't enjoy it. So it is a healthy balance. Everybody's different, everybody's got their own, you know, different facet on it, and mine's as fundamentally flawed as everybody else's, but it works for me, and I managed to come out with good grades, so that's a good thing, and hopefully this year will be no different. And the only reason I would ever say something along the lines of, you know, preface YouTube over education is if you're hitting 400,000 subscribers, because by that point it could literally be paying your bills, and then that would be understandable. But never compromise, you know, knowledge for the sake of instant gratification, because you'll regret it, and that's probably the best thing that I can say. But this section here, you have to switch over to your, I don't know what the rocket launch is called, it says small, which just sounds ridiculous, and it's probably real, it's some acronym for something, and you have to hit the tanks twice each. And the best thing to do is to just go belly down as soon as you reload, come back up, and then hit the tanks. Sometimes they'll take more than two if you get unlucky with your shot placement, but this shouldn't be too much of a bother for you. Another strategy that I'll throw out for this level is whenever you get to these walls, these little stone walls, they're about chest high, make sure you use them as cover and you never advance over them, because they generally lead into big fields. And there's nothing worse than getting caught in no man's ground and getting took out. The checkpoints on this section aren't too bad, but if you get sloppy and you end up getting taken down, you might feel the bite of doing a bigger section than you expected to be doing. And especially with the bit that's going to be coming up, because you're going to see me move to the right hand side of the road, and when I move over here towards these bricks, I sit behind this one, and it's a fantastic piece of cover because you can lay down and it takes the enemy a hell of a lot of ammunition to bust it down your cover point, and you can just keep popping dudes. But this is the section where it gets a little bit tedious, especially because you're shooting them forever and you can see them physically spawn in front of your scope as you're shooting. You'll notice that I put the noob tube on and I start tubing, and I don't know how effective it's going to be, but I'm using everything because I know as soon as I hit this checkpoint, there's not too much left of the level, and then there is the boss fight with the Harrier. It's not really a boss fight, it's more like running a gauntlet, and there is an achievement for doing it in the first Stinger hit, and the key to getting this achievement is being patient, because the Stinger takes a long time to hit the Harrier, or to hit the jet, because it's very fast. But just keep picking dudes up, popping them. You'll notice that that tower comes down. That generally means that you're going to be pushing on in a little bit. I keep going back across to my captain and laying down next to him, because the follow symbol sometimes needs you to trigger the appropriate events. It's nothing too challenging, it's nothing too radical, just, you know, do your thing. Try not to die though, because you'll notice I'm not getting shot that much, and that is because the enemies are all focused on my team, and because... Oh, I've said it again, look at this, I'm just a fucking because machine. The enemies are focused on my team a lot, and they're not even noticing me, so I'm not getting hit too much. And it's useful if you can get into these kind of rhythms, but just be warned, just because you're not getting shot doesn't mean they won't shoot you and mercilessly murder you if they can get an opportunity to do so. And this is one of those games that 2 to 3 bursts from a rifle can kill you, so you wanna be real careful as soon as you start getting shot and get away from wherever the danger is. But just stay in cover, keep playing intelligently, move with your team, but do not get as aggressive as they do, and just take down everybody in your sights. We're coming up to the end of this first section, so as per usual, people, thanks for watching. I do apologise about the lack of strategy in this video. I'm actually rendering at the same time, so my preview window is lagging like a bitch, and it's like watching a stop-start animation movie by Tim Burton, only nowhere near as dark, and it doesn't have Johnny Depp in it. But it's hard to commentate when it's this spazzy, but thanks for watching anyway, people, and you take care now.